Welcome to the latest news on the Presgrove case, explaining what went down last night. It was explosive, it was tense, unpredictable. We saw more shocking true colours shining more than ever. Some people, from their interpretations, found some others being homophobic. You know, names and faces other people would bow down to and praise. But what I want to focus in on today, more focused, is the Presgrove case at hand and the details and discussions which came about last night, from updates, corrections made, additional responses to questions and all of that, to make sense of everything. So I will be looking back at some portions of the live chat. I'll be reacting to it, questioning further if need be, and just looking at how some of the answers line up with what we've already heard of or what we previously know of, to check for consistency, to check for any anomalies and all of that. So feel free to sit back and relax. And for those watching this live premiere, welcome. And those in the background, feel free to share your thoughts, reactions, live emoji reactions, whatever. It's all welcome in the live chat box on the right side of the screen. And at any point, if you have any follow-up points, questions, answers, counterpoints, it's all welcome. Be sure to drop a comment down below under the video, down there, as it will help with spreading awareness for the case, the video, starting new discussions off and new ideas, and who knows what we can expand on that and maybe make some progression in the meantime. If you would like to support my channel, there are different ways to do so. The links to follow are down below in the pinned message in the comment section. And if you would like to support my, the additional videos and also catch up for yourself, videos you've missed out on, and so you don't miss anything, the full playlist of the Presgrove case is available top right corner where the eye symbol is up there. When you click on it, you get the drop-down menu box, playlist, and some loose videos attached. The order of how we're going to do this today, it will be done like a slideshow. So whilst we do have the live chat on the right, I'm looking back at the previous live chat. It's easier to relay, to talk over whilst I'm going through it. I could go back and forth, switch and change with the different camera angles, but in regard to the app that I use for editing, it's a no-go because there's been glitches where audio is out of sync, so I don't want to risk anything. I'm going to be cautious of timing as well, because understandably the one that I did yesterday was a bit longer in length. It was about 2 hours 37 minutes. So shout out to those that were able to watch the video live or catch up, and additional shout out to the people that were able to stick around for as long as possible. Whilst there was some tension and familiar faces last night, there was still, overall focus here and there. And then later on in the premiere, it got a bit quieter, but I think people were focused in and those watching in the background, so I do appreciate that. Apologies about the timing. It was delayed due to the processing and upload time by YouTube, unfortunately. That's out of my hand. So hopefully tonight the upload is at a more suitable time, fingers crossed. But yeah. The other thing that I will be acknowledging is some miscellaneous points later on, because it's a very interesting time, considering that, not everybody sees eye to eye with my channel, myself, and all of that. There seems to be a couple of conversations going on elsewhere about me. So that's kind of eye-opening, because normally you would associate a person that doesn't like something or someone would pretty much stay away completely, but it's not the case. And just as a heads up, one particular individual, of course, has returned, but furthermore, they've gone on to one of my live streams, which I did previous, on a completely different case. And that said individual has tried plaguing and ruining and destroying a completely different case just because they've got very petty issues with me. So not a good look on them. I'll try and show you an example of something later on. And if you want the link to that live stream so you can learn about the Kenny Veach case or anything else in between, or check out the incompetence over there, the disease, you don't worry, I'll provide to you the link in the comment section or the live chat, okay? So that's the roadmap for today. Some little themes which we touch upon, which are very important, which should be said in the title, maybe, or description, about party host, the host to the party. Were there any to begin with? Who really was the party host? Was it one? Was it a couple of people? Based on what BBC says, it might be eye-opening to others. We've got a bit of a follow-up, little update on the Maddison Rawlings photo as well, for a bit more context. And we've got a bit more of an update in regard to the party invite post, which was found on social media supposedly in the past, which was lacking context. A bit more backstory has been added. So that's why I wanted to do this video today, gather it all together. Because yes, Facebook, comment section, post are important, but the same can happen here as well. And arguably speaking, I know YouTube doesn't allow extensions like photos and stuff to be posted in the comments or chat, but in regard to just the text and the communication and the key people showing up, key people of interest, those within the case, family of family within the case and all of that, we have had a variety of people that have showed up during these live premieres, extremely critical, okay? We've had key different people all over the place. We've had Robin Smith show up. We've had Caden Pressey show up in the live chat. We've had BBC, of course, Brooke Bounds-Carter. Who else have we had? The odd other person, which we won't name because we don't want to summon them too soon in this video. We want to be able to at least relax and focus in for now. But yeah, a handful of key people have showed up with some key comments made and others as well. So it's helped to learn on the go, on the spot, to deal with what's happening. So let's demonstrate that once again today. And what I will say is, just as a heads up, not as long, but still deep and important, I will be applying some form of psychology later on, because what's happening in a way now, the cracks are starting to form and they're becoming more noticeable to the other people out there that have either been indoctrinated, brainwashed, gaslighted, emotional manipulation, or just outright delusionalism to begin with, and birds of a feather flocking together. With the cracks forming, some people are finding it really hard to defend other people's actions, so their back's against a wall, and some are desperately trying to excuse a person's behaviour, or if not that, they're not 100% wholeheartedly agreeing with someone's actions or words, but they are directing it elsewhere, as in, well, yeah, that's happening, but anyway, y'all are all doing it as well, so, it doesn't really matter, does it? Deflection, because the defense mechanism is under attack within some people's minds, their leaders, their masters, their daddies, and anyone else in between. Where do they go? Who do they look up to after all that time? It can be hard for them. So I'm going to explain it a lot clearer later. Just be sure to stick around for the full context. Without further ado, let's begin and, get into this mess that happened last night. Here we go. So what I wanted to do was leave the screenshots in raw format. Normally, I would blank out some comments which weren't the highlight of our discussions, but I felt that it would give ammunition to some people and suggest, why are you hiding certain comments? Are you trying to portray a certain narrative? At a time of where there's such high tension and some overly emotional people here and there, like little goblins scuttling around, I thought, let's just keep it natural and see what was talked about. So we had Gibby in the live chat, and some of the comments that they made wasn't too sure at times if they were referring to me or other people in the case. Asked the odd person the odd question, didn't always get answers. Maybe because other people were really focused on other conversations and stuff, but nevertheless, this is why we're here. So, first of all, Gibby said, who said deep pockets first? Who was the first person to talk about deep pockets? Well, when it comes to the general public, that's a greater size of people to look into, which would be hard. But in regard to an influencer, an influencing effect would be a person within the case the general public look up to and listen on every word, hold on to every word that's expressed. So if it's one of the Presgrove family members to have said it or suggest it in some way, it would explain why the general public kept going on about it over and over again, and why some sounded like a broken record, because it wasn't the general public that made it up, but they were influenced by someone before that, maybe the family. It looks to be the Anne Robin Smith that did, and the person called Idiot, no offence to them, that's just their username, idiots all around us, said it looks like Robin was the main person. But what we need to acknowledge is, whilst we focus on the deep pockets, when looking back at Robin's Facebook Messenger conversation, she didn't actually apply a name to that statement, that suggestion, you know? She didn't give any names in that screenshot, at least. More so what Robin was referring to, you could interpret as talking in general about, there are deep pockets. There can be people with deep pockets, and it can lead to the truth being covered up and other people seeking the truth and, disassociating from that, being paid off. And Robin, who was communicating with Donna Bond, I believe, in that Facebook Messenger conversation, was implying choose justice and truth over everything else. Avoid being paid off, avoid the deep pocket people. So maybe Robin and others secretly made their minds up, or already knew, as in who did have deep pockets or who they believed to have, wealth. But, in fairness, let's not forget, if you look online, public news, it shows a certain bank in Oklahoma has promoted Robin Smith to loan officer of a higher ranking within a group, and the bank, I don't know in terms of how the money is dealt with, but it said this bank and dealing with $850+ million. That's not to say that Robin has all that money, no, but to be in the presence and to have a job which involves money is interesting when that person is talking about deep pockets in general. There might be other family members, or there may be other people that listened to what Robin said, saw her comment, and then treated it and then applied it to people's names. But that would be the general public's fault of doing that. If Robin never gave any names to begin with and just suggested the theme, that's the equivalent to the videos that I do where I use careful language, and then some other person steps on in and then says, "Why are you talking about me? Why are you attacking me?" And my response would be, well, I'm talking about a general theme. I'm talking about a situation in general with no names or statistics directly aimed at you. So what makes you think it's all about yourself, right? So when people listen in or read things, they can, look in between the lines and fill in with names and association, which is reckless. It is really. But nevertheless, just the theme, the consideration, the attitude that there may be deep pockets, really early on in the case, it really does set the tone that whilst people nowadays like to attack me and make false claims about me being paid off and having to go about money, you look back at the very people that were talking about money in the first place, talking about the deep pockets in the first place. What's that? That comes to people's mind first. Money, money, money. What about Presgrove? And then there's those claims that there were some people in between that were paying others or willing to pay others to be informants or to sneak about to gain intel and all this. Secret spy club, what's going on? Like, you have to even consider paying someone to do something, whether they follow through with it or not. or it's dangerous or safe. The fact that you've got to use money in the first place to get stuff done, it does set the tone. It says a lot. And yeah, typical line, money talks, used quite often in different areas of life, yeah. But for the people that like to push it in a form of purity and justice and all for Noah, the money part plays a big role. And it's also said by the people that are so against it in other ways. So there is, in some ways, a level of hypocrisy, right? You look at my channel, for example. What do I say? If you would like to support my channel, that's all I say. I don't come in and say, right, everybody, you best donate money to my channel, because if you don't, when Brooke Bounce-Carter goes to sleep tonight, she's going to wake up without a ponytail. She's going to wake up with a hole in her hat, and then Lan is going to walk on in and wonder where his saddle's gone. It's been stolen. It's held at ransom. So Brooke Bounce-Carter, even though YouTube doesn't allow over $999 super chats, you need to give a $999,000 super chat if you want to see your hair again, and if Lan wants to see his saddle. Hostile takeover. Does that happen? I don't think so. Do I come on in and say, you know what, Tim Daniel is watching, you best be here right now. I'm going to click my finger. He's busy cooking away. What's he cooking? Oh, he's baking money. He's been hiding dollar notes inside of a fruitcake. My God, Tim, next level. What is going on? Exactly. Now, I hope enough people are watching right now to be able to listen into that, because it's about cutting the darkness with lightheartedness here and there. Let's at least acknowledge what else is going on in the comment section on screen, because we've not even got to that yet. So we got Ellen. Shout out to Ellen, consistent viewer, of course, and member on the channel, much appreciated. They said, was that like at a home game that Robin supposedly attacked the girls, or one of the girls? This was early on in my video last night, I think before I actually got into the depth of it all, when it came to referring back to what BBC said about Carter Combs being at a football game and Robin Smith, Noah's aunt, being at the same place. And then there was a verbal physical altercation, and Carter Combs was attacked by Robin. But then Robin responded back and said, I never did any of that. There was some disagreements, and then she ended up leaving, and that was it. So, interesting. A home game in regard to football, and I'm guessing American football, right? Not soccer. We got Andrea, Raf, Stamina, still keep on going. Oh, Andrea, I'm glad you mentioned the stamina. Very impressed indeed. Yes, there will be more videos to come, and there have been, as for a list of videos, it's just in between. I've been trying to keep up with other cases and try other things in between to refresh the mind. It is interesting, Andrea. There's some unusual post about me elsewhere on Facebook, which we'll get to later. We'll get to that. Ellen, I think it was one of Noah's cousins or aunts that mentioned about the deep pockets. So, Ellen, if you think it is one of Noah's cousins or aunts, do you have like an example of the named individual, like Robin as an aunt, or Ashley Chadwick as a cousin, or Paul Poucher, people like that? If you want to drop a name, feel free, within reason. We got Harley. Good profile picture. Is that like a motorbike helmet, motorcycle helmet, or motocross? Did that lawsuit get dismissed yet? The lawsuit, which one? Wrongful death lawsuit or something outside of the case? Ellen, because I vaguely remember Noah's nana, Deborah Smith, I guess, coming on and saying that she had no idea she was going to say that kind of stuff, or something to that effect. Right. So for clarity, what is Ellen referring to here? Noah's nana, grandmother, Deborah Smith, came on. Came on to what? TikTok live stream, an interview? And she had no idea who's she, Robin Smith, was going to say What kind of stuff? If context can be provided in the live chat right now, or the comment section, that'll be appreciated. It seems from interpretation that Deborah Smith was maybe caught off guard by the reactions by the family members, wasn't anticipating or wanting that because it harms the case, it makes them look bad, it tarnishes reputation or so. Is that how it's being interpreted? Maybe. And then what else? Idiots says to Ellen, remember Robin's cousin or Nana cousin saying they were going to own everything Bub Wilcoxon owned because they deserved it. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never seen or heard that before. Context-wise, where was it mentioned? On Facebook, in an interview? Was it from the horse's mouth exactly? Robin's cousin or Nana cousin. Right, Robin's cousin or Deborah Smith's cousin, is that correct? They were going to take over what Bub Wilcoxon had. But how were they going to own everything exactly? Now, I think it might have been by Justin or someone else that mentioned about land being sold for $17 million or something. Has that got any link to what's mentioned here about land? Or is it two separate things? They deserved it. That Noah's family deserved all that land because they lost their son. They lost one of their family members. Is that the reasoning behind it? So, you lose someone, but you gain money. Or you lose someone, but you gain property, land, which you can profit from or benefit in other ways. But it doesn't fill that void. That person who's gone within your family or whatever, they're gone. And you think, what, land, money is going to fix it all? Does it come across as shallow, that? Yes. But as for context, I've never seen this mentioned by any of the cousins talking about it. If there are screenshots and there is context, feel free to share it if you want. And we'll see where it goes from there. Interesting. Gibby said 13 days after Noah Presgrove's death, Avery drinking again. I would imagine that was hard to take. Well, that's the thing, Gibby. When you look at it on the surface level, like Robin Smith may have done, without the additional context, you hear the word brewery. That's where alcohol will be made and distributed. A place where you go to drink alcohol, etc. Pretty self-explanatory. But if there is a baby shower there, as what BBC said, a separate room where there's no alcohol present and it's just rented out, whatever, for a party, a get-together, a baby shower, and that's it, it's separate from the alcohol. When it comes to that photo of Avery Jasmine, within that photo, there's no hard evidence of them actually drinking anything. Could they have had any alcohol at any point? There's always that small chance, of course. You never know. But at least from that photo, interpretation-wise, you can't tell. It's just based on assumption in that moment. And for Robin Smith, without the context of the baby shower, it does make me think, and I did question it last night, maybe we do it as a poll, if Robin knew that Avery was at the brewery, not to drink, not to party, but for a baby shower, where there's much younger people about and so on, would Robin have still considered blasting the location public? Or would they have, stood back and thought, whoa, okay, no, I best not. If I do it as a poll, feel free to vote. It'll be interesting to see what people say. George mentioned, well, I'm guessing Robin, being interpreted here, used the term liquid in that one podcast. Which podcast was that, George? Which podcast did Robin star in? Partners in True Crime? TikTok? Interview? The Live? Then idiots. Avery was not drinking. They were at a baby shower. And Ellen? Well, Caden Pressey was drinking the next weekend, and 6 weeks later he was trying to gather money for more beer. I do remember that in some way. I believe it was mentioned in one of the interviews, possibly the police one, talking about doing things or trying to find work to collect beer money. I mean, I don't know how expensive beer is or how much one's consuming, but, you know, I get what people are referring to here is that if you've got Avery, and let's just say if on the basis they were drinking, and it's seen as a low blow to Robin Smith and a trigger because it was alcohol, or it's labelled, seen that way by some as alcohol was the enabling factor behind Noah's death and the party, the hosting and all of that. When you see the same person responsible for it all, in the eyes of what some people think, along with the wrongful death lawsuit, like Noah's family, to them, it will come across as a kick in the teeth, a low blow and a trigger. So it can make them angry or frustrated. However, you got Caden Pressey. If he was doing the same thing, if Brylan Sweat, Mikey Lair, if they were doing the same things, would Robin, would others get angry at them for partying or drinking along the same theme as to what caused Noah's death, supposedly? Maybe not. So you could say it's selective, it's picking, it's choosing. Other people would argue and say, well, duh, the other people didn't host the party, so they're not to blame. Right? Okay. But if you wanted to be really, 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 really picky, right, and I mean really picky, you could say, well, if you're a friend of a friend of a friend of this person and you're present within the vicinity and you're of a certain age, at least over the age of 18, you are a young adult, own responsibility, but you could have your own little safeguarding on behalf of other people around you, regardless of age. Just like I said in a previous example, if you're having a night out with someone, you're going out with a person, hanging out with them. They may be drinking, you may not, or you may be more careful. They get drunk. How do you get back home? Do you let them walk back home by themselves? No. Do you walk them back home, whether you live with them or not? Providing that they know you and they're comfortable with you, you walk them back home. Or if you, as a form of transport, you can still escort them so they're safe, so they're okay, so they don't fall over. If you've got the strength and stamina, you pick them up, you carry them home. Oh boy, those visions of that. But yeah, got to take that into consideration. So when you refer back to the party which Noah attended, whilst Noah is, drinking, probably because he wants to, there could have been other people besides the host that could have looked out for Noah, looked out for one another and thought, should we be drinking? Are you drinking too much? Is that a good idea? But guess what? At the time, in the moment, when they're all partying, they don't care. Just like previous parties and the parties before that and the parties before that. Even some of the parents back in them days, back in the parents' days, the things they may have got up to, maybe even more dodgy. Yeah? The reality is, you think and you look deep enough into people's past, you may find a lot of unexpected stuff in the background. And we've heard some people suggest, in other circumstances, there might be people here and there that have a lot of skeletons in their wardrobe. And I'll tell you something, the reason why I don't have skeletons in my wardrobe is because I've got too many tops in the wardrobe, so I can't fit anything inside. But I will say, I do have the odd skull laying about. And as for context, if you go to one of my live streams in recent time, I do display it on screen, which I think just so happens to be the live stream that I've done recently where Justin decided to jump on and complain and make false claims about me. So just for context, it's not real as for the skull, but it's just a little light-hearted reference. Anyway, beside that, what do we have here? Was there anything else of significance? Overall, the theme is focus on Avery, but other people not so much. My question is, if anyone can answer it, when Avery was at that baby shower, was Carter Combs and Logan Jernigan present as well, or not? Any other familiar names, any other former party goers that were at that baby shower besides Avery? I'd like to know. If anyone has answers, you can always leave a comment. Harley family got the landowner wrong and the homeowner wrong and the ATV owner wrong. Are they really going to follow through with all those botched filings? I guess that's in regard to the wrongful death lawsuit. So, land owned, homeowner owned. I remember in the early days it was between Bub Wilcoxon and Stevie Howard, between those two and so on. At the time, at least, those that were living at the party house back then was Avery, Carter and Logan. And then after that, they ended up moving out. Now, did Avery, Carter, Logan move out at the party house because of, they were scared for their life? They felt that their safety was broken. They needed to get away to find a safer place. Is that why they moved out? I wonder. If anyone knows, give an update maybe, just for that additional clarity. But yeah, in terms of that side-by-side owner, yeah. I mean, to my knowledge, it was Jack Newton's. He owned it and he took it down and used it at the party to some capacity, right? Of what Caden Pressey described when it came to hunting the animals and jumping the culvert, that was in the side-by-side, not the Ford Ranger pickup truck, which Jack described. Unusual discrepancy. 2 different types of vehicles said, only one used. Weird. Nevertheless, the side-by-side rollover, one of the side-by-sides, which was owned by Jack Newton, which was originally brought down on a trailer, and what was towing it was the main vehicle, the pickup, the Ford Ranger, which I think was blue or bluish, and we've seen that in the party footage, photos in the background of the front porchway patio area. So with that being in mind, a wrongful death lawsuit was the one that mentioned about Caleb Newton owning it. Well, speaking of that, just moving on to the next slide briefly. This is a screenshot from part of the wrongful death lawsuit. Yes, I am looking back over it. I am rereading it, as the odd person would, bark on about. So let's take a look back at this wrongful death lawsuit, some of the key details within. Hopefully it fits on the screen. 18, it says that the party in question took place at the property owned by defendant Johnny Trout Wilcoxon in a trailer owned by defendant Stevie Howard. Now, it kind of implies that the party took place inside of a trailer, which just so happened to be owned by Stevie Howard. But if we're talking about an actual trailer, that was more west, down at the bottom of the road. The actual party house was more of a proper house and not a trailer. So unless the wording's different or it's different in the US, that seems to have been messed up itself. So that's the odd mistake there. And like what Harley was referring to. 19, despite being underage, Noah was promised and provided copious amounts of alcohol if he attended the party. Now, is that in regard to the first time round, as in Saturday, or when he was welcomed back and people wanted him to return? Was it used as a persuasive tactic? Is that what it's been implied as? 20, defendants provided the descendant Noah with alcohol over the course of multiple days, even after he was already intoxicated. That implies that people were force feeding him alcohol and shoving bottles down his mouth, which seems drastic. 21, during the party, defendant Caleb Newton permitted Noah to drive the side-by-side vehicle whilst intoxicated. Noah was involved in the vehicle accident and sustained injuries, damaged lip or nose. Towards the end of the party, defendants Jack Newton and Avery Howard were seen verbally fighting with Noah. At what time exactly? And how do we know that took place? I mean, before the wrongful death lawsuit, that particular detail I never heard of before. The closest we got to it was in the earlier days, Partners in True Crime interviewed Justin Roy, and Justin had said, beside Saturday, Monday, there was another argument between Noah and Jack. Now, what Justin was referring to then, is that what links on to what's mentioned here? But with the wrongful death lawsuit, it includes Avery as well, a 2-on-1 verbal fight. But what's the context? What's the motive behind that verbal fight exactly? And did it happen when Noah walked away, whilst he was walking away, or even before he decided to walk away? To say towards the end of the party, what would even be considered towards the end of the party? Because when Noah Presgrove walked off at 3:30, I guess to some extent people were still partying inside to some capacity. I'd argue and say the party truly ended the moment the news came about when Noah was pronounced dead, found at the highway. You look at 5:27 in the morning, people are still awake in the bed posing for a selfie. Whether they're still truly partying, they're still awake. And if you're still awake, the party hasn't died. So it's weird, really. If you used to say the party ended at 5 or 6 in the morning, later on, Noah walking away at 3:30 wouldn't align with what's mentioned here about Jack and Avery arguing with Noah when it got to the end of the party, because the end of the party is onwards. Noah walked away earlier. So when Noah walked away earlier, that's when it must have happened and the party was still going. So they got that wrong in the wrongful death lawsuit, technically speaking. So with these minor mistakes, and other people would say there's major mistakes as well, how well does it hold up? Talk about Hail Marys and trying to get the justice. If mistakes are made, that's not going to do much good for Noah's case in general. But the one that stands out here the most, 21, to do with Caleb Newton, centre of the screen. During the party, defendant Caleb Newton allowed Noah to drive the side-by-side. The problem with that is, number one, supposedly Caleb does not own direct that side-by-side. It's actually Jack Newton, the son. And two, whether Caleb owned it or not, there was no reports or hard evidence of Caleb ever being at the party. Even Caden Pressey said when he was there for all that time, 100% Caleb was nowhere to be seen. So where has it come about for the wrongful death lawsuit to include Caleb? Now, you could argue and say, well, maybe Caleb wasn't there, but if he owned that vehicle, he allowed Noah to ride it. To allow someone to use your vehicle when you're nowhere near the party means there's got to be a form of verbal communication or written. And likely that would mean over the phone. So where's the evidence on the call logs which show Noah Presgrove ringing up Caleb saying, hey, Jack's dad, can I use your side-by-side? I want to ride it around at the party house. Could I use it, pretty please? Do you honestly think that is going to happen? If Noah Presgrove wants to do something, likely in the moment, he's probably going to do it. Just like how he supposedly got the keys from Jack's side-by-side, or whoever's, from the room that Jack was sleeping in with Carter, and just took them without much question, without much hesitation. But was that taking the keys before or after the permission by Caleb? Who knows? But if Caleb wasn't on site, Noah couldn't just walk up and ask him for permission. So it would have to be likely over the phone. But where's the call logs? Where's the hard evidence and proof that Noah called Caleb? And do you honestly think that Noah would call Caleb just to ask for permission? I mean, it's sensible, yeah, but when you're drunk, when you're at a party, are you going to consider all of that? I don't think so. So, look, this is the thing. Caleb, present at the scene onwards. Some reports or claims of Caleb picking up or moving a tooth of Noah's, distributing a top out to people, cutting it up. Claims of that, I'm surprised none of that was included in the wrongful death lawsuit in some way, as in the post-death part or responsibility in covering up or assisting in kind of distributing things to shift the focus elsewhere, unless you can't really have that for the wrongful death lawsuit because it's all about the build-up to Noah's death. So anything that happens after that is separate, maybe. I'm not an expert on that. But it just seems like they used Caleb and tried pinning blame on him, but in a bit more of a reckless way. There might be other possibilities to try and tie Caleb to the case, right? But as for the wrongful death lawsuit and the social hosting, I don't know. I don't know about that. As for Jack, well, he was present there, supposedly getting alcohol too, and also wanting Noah to come back to the party. So there's some links there, roughly. But for Caleb, who's not even physically at the party, why is he being dragged in exactly? Just because association with Jack Newton, the son? Because of the past and the Warwick boating accident. And take in mind, I did do a video on that and a video on Caleb's statement. And guess what? YouTube decided to take it down because of a third-party takedown request. Who was that third party exactly? I'd like to know. Returning back to the comments here. So Brooke said, where does it show that the girls were drinking? They were at a baby shower. Okay. I'll zoom in just to make it more focused. There we go. Yeah. So from the photo, it was just Avery, Jasmine smiling. You couldn't even really see what was in the background. You couldn't see any cups, any beer cans, any glasses, no wine. Couldn't see any of that. It can be present, of course, if you're at a brewery. But if you're in a separate room, you got kids, babies, from alcohol being present, probably not ideal. You stay away from it. So either Robin assumed that because they're at a brewery, then they must be drinking, or Robin was told that they were drinking alcohol. Someone else fed false information into their ear and Robin took it the wrong way and it served as a trigger. That could have happened as well. What else do we have? Mike, I think family has some responsibility for what is out in the public. So, Mike, are you suggesting that when we've heard some of the general public sound like broken records and keep pushing things which aren't exactly true or could be considered false, it stems back to the public being influenced by victims' family, those in the case that either created it or heard it elsewhere, and then it spread and then spread. And people are more likely to look up and listen to those within the case because there is a psychological influence or effect. And then it spreads like wildfire. Ellen, in response to Brooke, because they made the accusation because the baby shower was at a brewery, I don't think that Avery chose the venue. I wonder who did. And, you know, as for this shower, who was the one hosting it, or like who was the one having that shower party? Why? Well, I'm just thinking because, you know, I think Jasmine Milan may have had a child at some point. Carter Combs has, it was mentioned in the Daily Mail news article at one point, and maybe some other people in between. I think, wasn't there some comments by people either on Reddit or Facebook that were wishing or questioning about Carter being locked up and it impacting the baby or something before being born, and it implied some level of darkness or people wishing dark things to happen? Does anyone remember that? I'm sure there was the odd comments, roughly. Sensitive areas being touched upon. George, what did Robin Smith want people to do? Show up at that shower with firearms and machetes? Well, I think, in my opinion, George, the aim by Robin Smith at the time, in the heat of the moment, was to put her on a note of warning. Robin at the time believing that Avery could be or was responsible for Noah's outcome and wanting revenge, but also wanting to put her on notice to say, we're watching you. You know, we know where you are, what you're up to, where you get up to and all that. I think it was a psychological warfare tactic in hopes of making Avery get scared, break down, panic and confess. At least that's what Robin may have been aiming to do, or in the moment was wanting to make Avery feel uncomfortable, or as uncomfortable as Robin feels in different ways because of what's happened to Noah. Try and guilt trip them, try and intimidate, different ways of looking at it, right? So yeah, I mentioned about because of the assumption of it being a brewery, then in their mind, it must mean that drinking was involved, which not always the case, but to them, yes, and acted as a trigger. But if they knew the context, would it have led to the same outcome? Brooke later then said, no, she didn't. They have a room off to the side where you can have parties, shower, birthdays, whatever. Right. Moving on. Gibby. It's not an opinion that Avery held a birthday party where younger people were served and someone died. Well, you've got a party house. You would think that there should be a host. Avery, the birthday girl, but sometimes the birthday girl isn't always the host, because if family members or friends, provide a surprise birthday party, the birthday girl, even if they live there at the place, the venue, they're more of the guest of honour, and to whoever else that set it up as a surprise birthday party, then they would be the host. I don't know if that's why Brooke Bounds-Carter refers to Avery as not the one hosting. But someone has to be hosting, right? We'll get to that a little bit later. Let's just focus in for now, pair. I mean, where people were served and someone died. Well, that's the thing. The way Gibby words it here, yes, it was held at a place, a house, the party took place, and where alcohol was present and served. But to say, and where someone died, well, we don't know, do we? We don't know, Gibby. Do we have hard evidence to say that Noah died on the property? Yes or no? He was found along the highway, yes. But where did he truly pass away at? And if there was foul play by chance, where's the hard evidence to say Noah had died on site of the property where the party took place? We haven't seen any hard evidence of that yet. So a party may have taken place in one area, but someone dying, based on interpretation, died elsewhere and not at the same place where the alcohol was served. There is still that link between the alcohol, yeah, in different ways, but just in terms of how Gibby words it here, and this and that, not exactly true at this moment, or lacking in evidence. Mike, it just feels like the truth has been buried and personal agendas front and centre. Gibby, you think she doesn't have to live with that? Kids drinking aren't the devil? You think she doesn't have to live with that? Live with what? Knowing that they were the party host? And that there might be a level of responsibility and supposed guilt within that they have to wake up to every day and feel in their gut? Put on a smile, a brave face, but deep down they're suffering inside. That could touch upon the grief and the stages what we looked at yesterday. Robbie to Gibby, are you saying he died at the property, at the party? There we go. So Robbie is on the same wavelength as me when it comes to language and wording, which is obviously very good to see because, as we've seen elsewhere on other pages and platforms, not everybody looks closely at the wording. Tim Daniel then says, Ref, Avery was the focus from the beginning, and also lying about the grandfather being first at the scene as if he was involved in covering up a murder. Crazy, none of the misinformation was corrected. So, Tim, what would your opinion be as to why it wasn't corrected? Is it because if it was corrected, it would be less likely murder and it wouldn't follow with some people's agendas? Is it because it wasn't corrected because the people that made the mistake in the first place, it would tarnish their reputation and it may tarnish the case or the case they're trying to put forwards as to what happened to Noah? So it's best just keeping quiet and letting it be and forgetting it ever happened? Could be. You let me know. Brooke Carter, please show me how Avery served younger people alcohol. Also, where or how he passed away, died at the birthday party or property for that matter. So for the latter part, I get what Brooke's referring to. The mention of how, show where the evidence as to how Avery served alcohol to younger people, serving it. Well, different, I guess there might be different meanings, but serving could be like if you're a waiter, a waitress, you've got a plate, a platter or so, you've got glasses of wine or drinks, and you literally hand it out to people who are in front of you. That's like serving alcohol. If you buy alcohol yourself, you take it back to the house, which is the venue, the house, the host, and you leave bottles of alcohol on the table on the side, and then people help themselves. Would that be defined as you who bought it, as in you serving the alcohol as well? What happens if you bought the alcohol for the intention of just for yourself or the people of the suitable age, and you didn't plan on or intend on serving it to the younger people, but you left the bottles unattended on the side? You're not exactly serving alcohol to the younger people, but you're not exactly safeguarding them either. Different ways of looking at it, but once again, when in the moment at the party, rules, regulations and guidelines people aren't going to follow. Maybe they should, but in the moment they're likely not. And when it comes to the parents, the adults, the parents of the parents, they probably didn't follow guidelines or regulations either. Back in the past, they may have been even more reckless. So this is what I mean. You get celebrities in life, you get famous people to talk about drugs and alcohol and what you should and shouldn't do, what you should use and what you shouldn't. You know, yeah, I've been through it, I've done it, I've used it, but no, you shouldn't, you can't. I've done it, I've experienced it, but you can't. Hypocrite. Some people aren't in a position to be talking. Yeah, it can be considered advice, but it's, in terms of how it's normally delivered, it's delivered in a hypocritical way. But beside that, Gibby then follows on to Brooke and says, "Aren't you the first one to mention deep pockets?" Mike, I mean, when do we take some responsibility for ourselves? At what age exactly? Yeah. Because it being a sensitive topic with Noah, if, you know, of course, if you was to say, well, Noah was of an adult age, so he should have been drinking responsibly, but that line, drinking responsibly, can't apply to the US because it's underage for drinking. But like in the UK, 18, you can drink alcohol, but it's classified as drink responsibly. The responsibility falls on you as to how much you consume and so on. But that's under the theme, the activity of drinking and that responsibility. Under the act of being an adult and having responsibilities there, but not the responsibility with drinking because you're not of the correct age, it can't quite link. But other responsibilities in other circumstances to what you can and can't do, what you should and shouldn't do, should play a role. I get that. Carter then says, also, Avery Combs, the birthday girl, didn't even host the party or invite anyone. Right, so that's really eye-opening and very interesting. It may have been mentioned in the responses from the wrongful death lawsuit, as in the defendants responding back. We'll show you that in just a second. But, you know, anyone watching right now, what do you think of Brooke's response here? Avery didn't host the party or invite anyone. I mean, in other circumstances, it is possible for a person to live at a house where the venue's hosted as a party, and for the person living there to be the birthday girl or the birthday boy, and they had no clue a party was going to take place, and then it was a surprise upon them by other family members or friends at that place who were considered the host, and Avery was more of a guest. Maybe, but, you know, I don't know how it quite applies here for context. But before we get to that, just to mention on what Gibby's referring to, deep pockets, basing it off my memory, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, did Brooke Carter ever directly mention about deep pockets? There may have been a time where it was mentioned deep pockets in a light-hearted way, but more so, what I remember more so wasn't Brooke Carter saying that they've got deep pockets, but Brooke either half joking or just saying, don't worry, I think I'll stick to my, is it quarter of $1,000,000 salary or something, $250,000 salary, whatever that is. And is it possible that when Brooke said that, people used the label and attached the salary that Brooke makes as having deep pockets? Maybe? That's what I'm interpreting. That one person talks in general about a situation or a position, and then other people associate that with the label deep pockets, even if Brooke never directly used the line deep pockets. Just based on what I can remember. Beside that, as for Avery not hosting the party, I'm interested. When we look back at the responses, the collective one where it involved Avery, Logan and Stevie's responses, we'll read it whilst we're all here. Paragraph 42 is defendant Stevie Howard is denied as to remaining answering. Defendants, the paragraph does not pertain to them. 26. Defendants Avery Howard and Logan Jernigan were not party host. Therefore, paragraph 43 is denied. As to defendant Stevie Howard, the paragraph does not pertain to her. So Stevie Howard played no role whatsoever in the hosting of a party. But Avery Howard, the birthday girl, and Logan Jernigan, the friend, both living at that party house where the party took place, none of whom hosted it. And I believe the same response from Carter Combs, who was living there too, sister to Avery. Carter wasn't hosting the party either. So if Avery, Logan and Carter didn't host the party, who actually did then? I mean, surely someone has to host the party due to the environment it's in and how it comes about. Now, as you saw with Brooke's response, mentioning how Avery didn't send out invites to people, but obviously people were invited or found out about the party in some way and came on down. Like how Caden's mother said, in total 30 to 40 party goers. How did those 30 to 40 party goers find out about it? Were they reached out to? Was it a group chat online? Was it a public post? And this is where it gets a little bit unusual, because previously there was a post found or retrieved and reposted online of what appeared to be a supposed party invite and a calendar acknowledging to people the day it was falling on, and people come on down. But there's a bit more of a follow-up to that as in an update, and we'll get to that shortly. But I'll be honest with you, when I looked at the responses here, and Carter, I believe, Avery, Logan and Carter were not party host. It did make me think, so if no one's a party host, can you have a party at a party house, a private venue on land owned by someone, and no one hosts it whatsoever? How does that work exactly? Trying to wrap my head around it. So, not the best, but used AI just for this. Don't worry, it's not taking over. Just see what the response was. What would it say? I just went along the lines of, you got a house and a party's taking place. Would there be a host? And it says, well, yes, a party at a house generally implies there is a host. Someone who organises, invites guests and holds responsibility for the event. Whilst the host is often the homeowner, they can also be someone else organising the event at that location. Right, so Avery, Carter and Logan may live at that party house, and one of them, girls, is the birthday girl, but all three of them did not host. Okay. Because like it says, whilst the host is often the homeowner or the people live there, it can also be somebody else. Someone else that doesn't live there. Someone that doesn't own the property. So do we actually know then? Because if that's really the case, if the wrongful death lawsuit is all wrong and Avery and Carter and Logan are truly innocent, then maybe that wrongful death lawsuit shouldn't be aimed at the girls. It should be aimed at someone else. I mean, I don't know if Brooke is able to answer this, or anyone if there's any legal issues or anything, but if there isn't, if someone genuinely knows a person that actually hosted the party, is there any way to comment or leave the response down below for that awareness? Because what if all this time, all along, the birthday girl, the girls that were living there, deemed as the host, were never the host, but it was another family member, or it was another friend, it was another person about or elsewhere that doesn't even live there, and thought, you know what, I'm going to host you a party, we're going to get together, we're going to do all this and that. Under those circumstances, I feel like there has to be a host. But because this considers that it doesn't have to be someone that lives there, it could be another person, who could that person be? Is there any names? Is there any examples we can list below? Let's just add on. In Oklahoma, as elsewhere, the host is typically responsible for the safety and the behaviour of guests. Definition: a host is a person who invites guests, provides space, food, entertainment. Responsibility: a host holds authority over their home, responsibility for the event's conduct. Exceptions: some cases a host might be organising a party at a venue like an Airbnb, etc., that sort of stuff. Right, interesting. Moving on. Robbie, here's my question. All the people screaming social hosting, were you this gung-ho about it before Noah's death? So many parents seemed to know. Alicia knew, didn't care about Caden drinking. Justin just watched. Right, okay. Yeah, interesting times, of course. Let me just zoom in for a second. It was mentioned by some people at a point that after Noah Presgrove's death, the weekend after, the same people that partied had another party and it was seen as disrespectful. And another said that never happened, that's false information. Do you remember that? There was a time where Jan Fiorillo did a Facebook post and stated that the week before Noah's death, the weekend before, there was a previous party at the same place under the same examples of stuff that went on there. I don't know how true that is. Does anyone know? Did a party take place at that party house property a week before Noah's death? And who attended it? Jan Fiorillo said some or a person tried reporting it to police and the police didn't do anything about it. Right, so beside the odd person that made a report in, no named mentioned, which is unfortunate. As for everyone else that is up in arms about social hosting and justice and people needing to pay because of alcohol being served to younger people, deaf or not, did people have this same mentality weekends before, months before? You heard Caden Pressey. Caden said he's been to other parties in the past. And when you say in the past, that means when you were younger. Caden's already underage to be drinking, so is Noah. So if you're talking about the past, that means even younger, to the point of being maybe a minor, underage drinking, being at places, whether the parents know or not, maybe allowing it as well, turning a blind eye, no telling off, no reports to police. Oh, why? Because no one died. But then the moment someone dies, when it's too late, oh, now action needs to be taken. Funny, sounds very similar. It sounds very similar to a school shooting in which, under the circumstances specifically, where a person or a small group are bullied, mistreated daily, hourly, by the second, every day, for years at high school, they're bullied, they're turned into a monster, they break down or they finally break the limit, they retaliate and do a school shooting and there may be collateral damage. Oh, and only then people care about the bullying awareness campaign scheme, the victims, the stories, the innocent people, the crowds that are innocent but also participated in watching and laughing and cheering the bullying on in the first place. You know, prevention of school shootings, prevention of bullying and all this and that. When it's too late. Change only comes about and demands when there's the death of someone. A person or people have to go through suffering in order for change to happen, because it isn't done sooner enough. And that seems to apply here as well with the Noah Presgrove case. All those other parties in the past which Noah attended and drunk alcohol, what was so different about this final party compared to all the others? That's what the key anomaly factor is. Alcohol may be a constant, but what was different about this one party which led to that outcome with Noah? There has to be a differing factor compared to everything in the past. And just like an anomaly, not that it's really strange, because emotionally I get it, but An anomaly would be how others turned a blind eye to the parties in the past, may have not reported it. But on this occasion, when it was too late and so it did go wrong, now there's a problem. Now there needs to be change. Why couldn't there have been change back then? You could say, if reports were done in the past with parties, it may have saved Noah and Noah wouldn't have died this time. Maybe. But in fairness, if people want to party and if people want to drink regardless of age, they will find a way somehow. There is that as well. You got to take in mind. There's only so much that you can do and control. Beside that, Brooke to Gibby, absolutely not. I've never said or anyone I love has deep pockets. Try again. I said, I don't remember seeing Brooke Carter ever mention deep pockets, but there might have been a time where Brooke made a little reference or a joke reference to $250,000 salary, and then other people associated that and labelled her with deep pockets, but Brooke never said it herself. Based on my memory, Mike, 22-year-old girl, not some 40-year-old with kids. What? A tragedy happened and it's made worse by bad blood. Okay. Tim, so Gibby, nobody has said otherwise. That does not mean they beat Noah to death like the family are saying in that suit. Not a single piece of evidence, none. What's this one? I remember seeing a screenshot from either Instagram, Snapchat, or a calendar advertising the party. That's where we talk about it now. Brooke didn't respond back to my question, but shout out to Ellen that did provide some perspective. They said, well, like Raf, it's because it appears she was house... Oh yeah, first of all, this one is to do with further up in the conversation about the Maddison Rawlings photo, which Mike attached to his post at the time. Maddison Rawlings showed a photo of a house, either for sale or sold, and then the grandmother, Deborah Smith, said, oh, are you buying that? Ellen said it's because it appears she was house hunting 2 days before the lawsuit, the wrongful death lawsuit, was filed. Like they were going to get a huge cash flow payout or something, and were already putting a down payment on a house, maybe, thinking what they could spend with that money with the wrongful death lawsuit, exploitation, manipulation, getting money out of it, based on what's said here. George, working for a financial institution where some of these people used to bank, she knows who has deep pockets. Right. So with that reference to Robin Smith being at a bank and also being promoted to a loan officer, you can find that online public. If you're in the financial field, and maybe some of these people within the case also operate at that bank, maybe then you may know of what money people have, or money coming in and coming out possibly, or borrowed. So if anyone's going to know about deep pockets, then you would think Robin would know that. Is that why that influenced with what Robin had said at the start in that Facebook Messenger conversation about deep pockets? That could well be the case. That's understandable. It makes sense. However, just once again, let's be clear. Robin didn't give any names out as to who has deep pockets. She just mentioned in general about deep pockets. There might be a comment screenshot elsewhere which tells a different story. But yeah. Moving on, let's just make sure we've covered everything there. We'll get back to some points later. We'll follow up on that. Brooke to Gibby, how's that? Lol, she literally mentioned it in the 2 weeks after his death. There we go. Brenda at the top. Credit to Brenda. Brenda said that Maddison Rawlings, the photo of the house, that she said that she was sharing a picture of a friend's house for sale. And that was all. Fair enough. Understandable. You could argue and then say it's just that the date and the timing of it, people could interpret it as something else. It's just a coincidence. If you're able to, Brenda, did Maddison say it herself, and where did she talk about it exactly? Was it on that same post? Is it still available to this day? Or, was it in the comment section? Did Maddison respond to Deborah Smith when she said, oh, are you buying it? And then Maddison said, no, it's my friend trying to sell it and I just took photos. Is that how it was? Mike, he's looking for punitive damages and it will never be proven Noah was beaten because he wasn't. Who's he? I don't want to go against family, but the facts are the facts. These friends have been railroaded and a lawsuit was the goal. Tim, explain why Caleb is mentioned in the wrongful death lawsuit again. That one is a mystery to me. Donna said, Jerry is almost home. Where's Tom at? Jerry is about, but Tom, what's he doing? I've got to get the grill fired up. Yeah, Donna, fire that grill up, man. Make sure it doesn't burn down the house. Because if it burns down the house, it means who does Justin have to talk to now? If the house doesn't talk, and it's not from Donna's house, what's it going to be next? Well, we got the information from Donna's grill. Yeah, it all comes from Donna's grill. All the gossip. What? Anyway, Mike, I'm not going to argue. I said what I feel, and I've seen a civil lawsuit is a slap in the face to Noah's memory. That's at the end. People think what they want, but the truth is Noah died on that road. Right. Gibby, the Newtons shut down open communication when they told others to not take the family any food and not to visit to express their condolences, per Caleb Newton. I don't remember seeing that. It's unusual. Mike, BS, Jack was there plenty of times for Noah. So what I remember in the early days, Gibby, and it was actually Justin Roy that said it in Partners in True Crime, that when it came to the early days of the Justice page run by the victim's family, there was communication, open communication with Caleb and the family, with Jack Newton and so on. But then there came to a point where there was a bit of a breakdown in communication, and then it led to parting ways or being blocked. You know, Caleb, Jack, them lot being blocked. But more importantly, Justin had said all the post before that, all the comments, all the Q&As, all the important information, which was said by Caleb, Jack cooperating and so on, was all deleted by the victim's family. Why would you delete all of that when it could be used in the future? Why would the victim's family, delete all that evidence? It doesn't make sense. You might need to get rid of the people with time because things have gone downhill or bad stuff's happened, but preserve what's happened. Preserve the historical records and all of that because it might be needed in the future, or the case for Noah. You get rid of it. Is that covering up the truth? Is it making the case harder? In some ways, yes. And that's Justin that referenced that. Justin was the one that said it is a shame. It's a shame that a lot was deleted by the family. Let's not forget about that. That's really important. Okay? Moving on. Tim, Gibby, that's a lie, a blatant lie. Jack did podcast interviews. How dare you attack Noah's best friend? Yeah, I mean, Jack did appear in some interviews here and there. Even did the Partners in True Crime one in late 2024. Did it with, was it News Network or somewhere on the highway when he was wearing the glasses? The last thing that Jack said as to why he didn't do a live interview or on-the-spot interview face-to-face with Partners in True Crime and it was pre-recorded is because Jack felt that the last time he did an interview on the highway wearing the sunglasses, people made references and felt suspicious of him. So it made him more conscious, supposedly. I remember that. So, depending on the sensitivity of the areas and the subjects, and then you've got the general public pushing or prodding or poking, could have backed Jack into a corner, scared him off. Whether you like Jack or not, sometimes you just got to handle the situation correct, because if you don't, you end up pushing people away and you push away your chance of learning and the truth coming out. And then if you complain afterwards, how can you? You're a part of it. Or some people are, in a way. Mike said that kid was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. That a reference to Jack? Tim, because they need the false Caden timeline for there to be time for Jack to stage the body without Caden, there's no foul play. I can't imagine losing my brother and then having his family blame me to sue. Andrea to Tim, why is Stevie Howard's name in the suit Eva or Caleb? 3 people named have nothing to do with anything. So, yeah, in terms of the Caleb situation, it doesn't quite make sense based on what we've heard in other ways. I believe the reason behind Stevie Howard being named and mentioned is because whilst she supposedly wasn't the host, it was described that she knew of what was going on at the party and did nothing to prevent it or to stop it. I believe that's what the wrongful death lawsuit was kind of like labelling towards Stevie. But in some way, if that really was the case, knowing of what was going on at the party and allowing it to happen, well then, could you say the same about any other family members or parents of other party goers who knew that there was a party, assumed or partially knew that there would be alcohol and did nothing about it? They could have prevented it as well, besides Stevie. Other people could have been blamed, unless the counterpoint is the reason why it falls back on Stevie, because Stevie owns part of the land in some way, or that Stevie is the mother to the birthday girl, so there's more responsibility there. And if you own the land or own part of land, there's a bit more responsibility besides a stranger parent party goer, and so on. And there might be some complexities there as to why one person's accounted for in the list and another person's excused. But, you know, everyone's got different thoughts. Mike, anyone who can't see what's going on here is blind. Family doesn't give you a pass, Jack. Where's his family too? Give me brother. Oh, like Cain and Abel. Got it. Cain and Abel. Is that a reference to, who is that? Rosa Newton's brother or brother-in-law that died and Caleb was present or so, something like that? Brooke to Andrea, that's the only way they can get money. Right. Mike, his brother, his best friend, you're disgusting. Brenda, Warlike Raff, the picture of the house Maddison posted was her friend's. That was up for sale. Okay, that's good. Moving on. Right, around this time is when Justin Roy showed up. This is when Justin started making it all about himself. Take in mind that I was doing a bloody serious video last night. I was really going in deep with the psychology of grief and all of that. Extremely important. But no, the odd person showed up and created a bit of a circus performance. The clown in town had showed up, unfortunately. Now, was the odd name reference mentioned? Yes, historically speaking and relevant to the case. But beside that, the video that was done mostly last night was about Robin Smith, that situation, and Avery. And then me defending myself on the sideline in other ways. For most part of it, the video last night didn't have much to do with Justin Roy, but he still managed to find a way to make it about himself and come on in, like a bull in a china shop. It's unfortunate, okay? And as I said, Justin did follow on in other ways afterwards. So let's just remember, everyone, as a witness to my videos, as a witness to a statement and a promise, Justin Roy promised and said, Warlike Raff, I am done with your channel. Warlike Raff, I am done with your channel. Warlike Raff, now I am done with this channel. Warlike Raff, now I am really, really, really done with this channel. Oh, but by the way, you know, you need me, so I'm going to be here 24/7 like a pimp. What? Who's this individual exactly? What is going on? We talk about fixations. From the looks of it, Justin Roy is acting like my bag handler, following me around everywhere where I go. Because take in mind, we can talk about a person, but there's a difference between talking about someone and then outright following them or going about from platform to platform. As you know, on Facebook, I have never once posted or engaged over there or commented. I don't. I stick on YouTube because it's more centered for my platform, my channel, my place, my videos, my area. I will talk about things, I will analyse things, I will add commentary, I will defend myself in my place, in my territory. I don't go elsewhere, I don't immigrate elsewhere and start attacking or pillaging or taking over. I don't go onto other pages and do a hostile takeover. I don't go onto other channels and go out of my way like throwing toys out the pram. I stick to my channel and I say and do what I do. But we've got other planks that keep coming on, back and forth, boomeranging about, and they don't stick to one place. They don't follow through with the promises. I am done with your channel, Raf. But by the way, I'm going to keep on watching because I'm fixated. How does that make sense? Look, this is the thing. Brooke Bounds-Carter, if you supposedly, as what some people say, you've got massive deep pockets, deeper than Tim Daniels' low-cut dress. Fucking hell. If that's the case, Brooke, build a homeless shelter because it looks like, digitally speaking, Justin Roy is homeless. He's got no other community to go to on YouTube, so he keeps coming here. Okay, donate, Justin in need, GoFundMe. We need a new YouTube channel to talk about the Noah Presgrove case so then Justin doesn't have to torture, self-harm himself mentally in coming here and listening to my voice. Someone else set up a YouTube channel, talk about the case, and then Justin has a new home to go to. It's all about homing new dogs and animals, isn't it? So if anyone can adopt a Justin, feel free to do so. Oh, boy. Anyway, cutting through that darkness, let's just focus back in once again, okay? So what's actually mentioned by Justin, first of all? So, now you use a fake account to attack Noah's family? Classy. Wonder how much Warlight Wrath made off this. You do realise Robin was in a group chat with Donna Bond. Yes, Donna Bond, where the majority of rumours came from. Right. So who is Justin referring to by now using a fake account? What? As in Facebook? As in YouTube? Because this I am Mike Johnson has been I am Mike Johnson since the moment he came onto my channel. There is no fake account there. It's a default YouTube account, as in the person doesn't upload videos to their channel and that their profile picture is default. The profile picture on YouTube, if you don't upload videos and you don't customize stuff, will be default to one of the letters of your username, right? M for Mike, E for Ellen. You can change your profile picture to something custom if you want, but yeah, default profile doesn't have to be a fake profile. Sometimes it can be, and other times it's not. So I don't know what Justin is getting at here by fake accounts and attacking Noah's family, as in what place or platform, not mentioned, very vague by Justin, which is typical. The mention of how much did Warlight Wrath make off this? Well, Justin, guess what? Guess what, Justin? Last night, a 2-hour, 37-minute video, you're present, and no money was made. No super chats, no stickers, no donations whatsoever. You can look back, Justin. Absolutely no donations or super chats and super stickers. So considering, Justin, that you say when videos are made or when you're present, and that's only when money is made because Justin is supposedly the big money maker around here. When he's present or when the topic's present, the money comes flowing on in. Well, sorry to disappoint you, Justin. You supposedly failed me last night. Yeah, Justin, what a letdown. Oh no, what a shame. No super chats and no super stickers last night, and yet there was references and Justin showed up. Clearly, what it goes to show, Justin, when you are present or you're present in some way, you are not the money maker. It's simply a coincidence as to when people donate and give support. It's not about you, Justin. It's about people voting with their wallet because they just want to support someone regardless of the content. Okay? Not that hard. And because Justin was present last night, there was no super chats or super stickers. Now, yes, of course, it would be ironic now if, when saying this, all of a sudden in the live chat there's donations coming about left, right and centre. But beside that, okay, nothing happened last night. And you should have seen it with your own eyes, but maybe you didn't, Justin, because you were too fixated on all the commenting. But beside that, we'll continue on. Mike, why not contact Tyler or sit at Alicia's house for phone analysis? Family didn't reach out. They had that narrative from day 14. Yeah, I said to Justin, because at the time when he showed up, I was hoping that he would focus and be a good boy, but he wasn't. I said, this video does go deeper than the last one that was made, with more perspective, and it absolutely was. So long and deep that I think some people ended up falling asleep because it was a long one. In fairness, the video was uploaded late, which apologies about that. Mike says, crazy train. Who are you talking about now? Robin hates you too and says you're a liar. Harley, Justin, you perpetrated all these rumours and you still do today. Mike, Donna's house, are you 12? Oh, God. Oh, no. Donna's house. Donna's playhouse. I bet Donna's got a playhouse in the back garden. Does Justin go into the Donna's playhouse to sit round a table full of bunnies and teddy bears drinking tea from a plastic pot? What's that plastic pot donated from Lisa Jediman? Oh my God, Tim Daniel, we know where the kettle's been now. It's been inside Donna's playhouse. Oh my God. What is going on? What is this? Oh my God. Let's focus in. Right. Ellen, I didn't know Justin Roy. He didn't mention your name, so I guess he hasn't made a penny, right? Hearing a rumour and spreading one are two different things. Oh yeah. One other thing, anyone, shh, don't be donating. Don't send any super chats or super stickers tonight, okay? Shh, don't do that. Whoever thought a day would come where a creator begs people not to give. Anyway, jokes aside, hearing a rumour and spreading one are two different things. True. Idiot says, how many times does this douchebag Justin keep coming back after he states he's over and done with the channel? With Raph and keeps coming back. Robbie, he's an emotional thinker. Wait, he's an emotional non-thinker. Okay, so I believe Robbie is calling Justin out there. Mike says, Justin, don't you have some women to take to court, tough guy? You're one of the biggest problems. Ellen, oh no, Justin, make no mistake about it. You are the biggest problem. Right. I don't know if at this moment in time during this live premiere, if anyone has been summoned or if the live chat is going nice, fine and calm. I guess we'll see later. Right. Justin comments a few more times. Let's just see what's mentioned here. The party host family literally sold land for $17 million. Well, that would be quite a lot of money. If the family was really after money, they could hacked for a lot more. Hacked? What? Hacking? Maybe you don't mean it in that sense. Just me. They could have asked for millions. They only want the truth. Right, so Justin, if you're able to actually answer questions, for the sake of the No Presgrove case, of course, you say that the party host family, so what, the Howard family, Stevie Howard family, the Bub Wilcoxon family, have sold land. What land though, Justin? Land in general, land in the area, the party house land, or land further afar? Is your point, Justin, that land in general was sold, unrelated to the No Presgrove case, but the fact that they've got all that money now, if Noah's family was really about money, they would have gone for it, but they haven't, so they're not all about money. Is that your point, Justin? It would have been easy if you summarised it like that, at least, but nevertheless. Mike, Robin said Justin likes to lie to rile people up. Right. Tim, thank you, Brooke. That's what I was trying to say. They're all blocked. Idiots. So Idiot says to Justin, that's a lie. The family did not sell land for $17 million. There you go again with your crazy lies. Then I did ask Justin, do you know who made the online post photo of the calendar advertising the party publicly? Now, unfortunately, Justin declined to actually answer that question in relevance to the case. Oh well, another person did respond. Ellen! Shout out to Ellen. Oh my God, I nearly said Tubby. Ellen Tubby. I don't know. Teletubby? I don't know. Forget what I said. I got news for you. A lot of people feel like I do the 7K in Army 12 comment, whatever that means. Right, Justin then says, so Tim Daniel, you just confirmed that I am Mike Johnson is really BBC. What? Mike Johnson is BBC. Wait, so is Justin implying or interpreting what someone else says that supposedly Mike is in drag dressing up as Brooke Bounds-Carter, that Brooke Bounds-Carter is secretly a male that has gone underground surgery? and has a wig on at times, pretending to be a woman, but it's actually a man called Mike. Oh my God, I feel sorry for Lan. Poor Lan, sitting on the saddle, realizing it's actually Mike, sitting on Mike's lap. Oh my God, what a disaster. This is like mentally scarring my mind tonight. I'm gonna have nightmares from this. The next time I see BBC, I'm gonna be reminded of Mike. Anyway, oh God. Ellen, this is where it gets important, okay? Warlight Ref, you mean the calendar that doesn't even have anybody's name on it? Oh yeah, I think Judy was supposed to, or one of those people on the light army side who was supposed to find the original photo. Oh well. Right, so someone was ordered or came across it, but they needed the original for context and they couldn't find it. So, if there is an original, what was found, what I saw, what you saw, was edited and cropped. Convenient for someone, maybe? Idiots. They had to do a GoFundMe for them to bury Noah, assured they're all pressed for money. Moving on. Here we go. This was the post. This was posted on Facebook or somewhere in the past. It may have been reposted on Reddit at some point too. A supposed social media post, public, labelled to link back to Avery, but BBC says Avery never hosted the party, never invited anyone. So the real question is, who made this social media post, if it is even a social media post? What you see on here is what you get. There is no overlay, there's no badge, there's no icon, there's no username, there's no overlay which shows the, platform that it was posted on, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, the lot, Twitter, none of that. There's no insert username and profile picture in the top left corner. It's just a photo of a calendar which has been edited because you've got the overlay of a pink cowgirl hat and pink heart-shaped glasses, and then circled on the 4th, Labor Day, come party with us. With us. So it's not just one person, in a way. Who made this calendar? Who made this post? If it wasn't Avery, then who was it? Why couldn't someone find the context of this? Was it deleted? Was it edited? Was it cropped? Was it manipulated? And for what reason? What motive? Who was it to attack, or who was it to hide exactly? Is this being hidden or deleted in the past, the original, because of the social hosting and the wrongful death lawsuit? Is there any context that we can get from this exactly? If there's anything else that you notice that's odd or strange about this particular photo, this supposed evidence, you let me know in the comments section. All right? Moving on. So yeah, calendar. Ellen, no proof because they never send anything in. We got Joyce Begow. Justin, that's not even what Time was talking about. Oh, Tim, not Time. Tim Time. Tim Time. Oh, but he was. Joyce, Ref, I had seen that on Reddit, that calendar, the party one, months and months ago. I wonder who it was posted by, and I wonder what the conversations were. Unfortunately, on the Reddit page, there was a lot of things deleted previously, which was a bit silly. Idiot says to Justin, Brooke Bounce Carter is not Mike Johnson. The shit you come out with is impressive. I mean, I would find it impressive how Mike would be able to grow such long black hair in a short period of time. That's, I think, more impressive, to be honest. Begow, he was talking about how people have been blocked from the family page. Mike, Justin saying Zachary Wright and Caleb ran drugs, Colton, Newton and JJ Bump Ass did it. Holy shit. Be solved the case. It was Will Coxon's truck. Ellen, Warlight Ref and September 4th was circled, so they were implying it was sent out by Avery because that's the day of a birthday. Okay. But it never was, and there's no name on the calendar. It was just another one of their lies. If it's a lie, did they also create this in the first place to make it seem like she was the one hosting it? if there ever comes a time where a person has to create evidence and fake it, that is one of the lowest points in a case, to be honest. Doesn't do any good for the case or the standings of it, really. Moving on. Justin comes out with the same line. The truth should have been told on the 4th of September 2023. Their lies have caused all of this. All of it. Tell the truth and get this over with. But the reality is, Justin, if that ever did come about, what happens if it's the truth that doesn't align with your thoughts? Will you be happy and accept it or not exactly? Because based on the Dylan Rounds case, it went how I predicted. I believed it to be one way. Other people didn't. They showed resistance, threw the toys out the pram, attacked me. And in the end, I was right. Other people were wrong. And other people couldn't accept it. So they kept going round and round in circles, even when justice was served. And they were fixated still. They were still accusing Dylan Rounds for being gay and going on and on and on and on about that. And he wasn't. So, weird times. Mike, is there anyone you haven't blamed? Tim? Justin, what an arsehole. Don't mention Donna's name again. You know she can't respond. Attack people who you have a protection order against. Right. Well, I don't think Justin was directly responding to Donna, but he was referring to Donna at some point, I think. But yeah, okay, we've got some uncharted waters and territory here. We've got these protective orders, and all these different people involved in these different cases are actually in the same online chat as one another, which could be very risky. Ooh. Idiots, and in response to Mike, mental man, Justin is claiming you're BBC. Right. When I did a video at the time, I mentioned about the no name and an overlay lacking. Yeah. Robbie, Justin likes to try to bully people into being silent. When he can't do that, he just blocks them. Wait, is that why I can't see Justin's comments at times on my channel? Because he's blocked me? Has Justin blocked me, I wonder? I don't know. Mike, it was good chatting with you. George, out of context, the crop queen? Justin, Mike, no, that came from Donna Bond's house. I have proof of that too. You'll see pretty soon. So there's a protective order between Justin and Donna, and they're both in the same online chat as one another, and Justin is talking about Donna Bond when there's a protective order. Is that wrong? Ellen, Warlight Raff, I think someone else had made one similar. And I think they asked Judy or something about it. And she said, yeah, that was the one. But it doesn't. But it wasn't. It was something somebody else made. So you're saying that someone had made this up or recreated it, but in a fake way to pin the blame on Avery. If that's the case, that is extremely desperate, and even probably the victim's family would be ashamed of this, because whilst it may be done trying to help the case and get the justice, faking evidence, planting evidence on people, incriminating other people, wow. That can throw cases out and can even lead to lack of justice. Right, it continues on, unfortunately. Idiots. Justin is just a loser that started a mass majority of all the lies, then cries and screams more me. Women were mean to me after I bullied them and files protective orders against women. What a loser. Justin, Tim, stop lying on Noah's family and tell the truth, where the lies and rumours came from. Robbie to Justin, did you repeat those rumours? Ellen, Justin, is the reason that his daughter got exposed was because he insisted that whoever had those texts, that they post him because he didn't believe them. If he had of just kept his mouth shut. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Now, maybe Justin wanted them to be posted, but privately to him. But if he didn't specify specifically, and you just say, if you've got proof, then show it, post it. And then someone posts it, and then you say, oh my God, why are you attacking me? Why are you coming after me? Why did you post that? By the way, I did tell you to post it, but why are you posting it? How dare you? It's almost as stupid as you get Tim Daniel to serve some soup up on the dining table. You take a sip and you say, you know, I don't want soup. I don't like soup. And yet you told Tim to make the soup in the first place. Why tell someone to make soup and then take it afterwards and say, I don't want it, I didn't ask for it? How does that make sense? It's like me saying, Brooke Bounce-Carter, for next Christmas, my Christmas wish is to have a horse. Can you deliver me a horse, please, and a saddle? And then a few minutes later, I get the horse and I'm like, you know what, Brooke? I never asked for a horse. How dare you give me one? Very insulting, vindictive, twisted behaviour, thinking that I needed a horse to ride on. I don't need that, man. You just contradicted yourself. Exactly. What's going on? It's so strange. I can understand, though, and I'm sure Justin won't listen to this, I can understand that Justin may have wanted the proof, but done privately. But if it wasn't specified, people may think, oh, open opportunity to post it public then. So you've got to be careful with the language and wording, because you might get what you asked for, but not you get more than what you bargained for, you know? Joyce Bagow, for someone who put a restraining order on 2 women, sure the hell can't keep their names out of his mouth. Can't wait to see what's coming. Mike, the lies are in black and white, dumbass. From horse's mouth. Oh, the horses have come on in? Yeah, bring the horses in. Ellen, to Bagow. I know that was disheartening to put the older lady through that. Very sad. Idiots. Yes, Joyce, he is weirdly obsessed with them 2 women. Right. Donna Bond says, my house has talked about all kinds of things. My house has never left this property and apparently only talks to 2 certain people. Wonder who left my house with things. So Donna is indirectly responding to Justin and Justin is indirectly getting Donna to speak out. Is this a tactic to break the protective order? This sounds like really risky behaviour, a little bit dangerous waters here. And then this is where it starts getting a little bit more out of hand in a way. We'll get to that. Robbie, right, Joyce? He was so afraid of them, yet he continually harasses them. Justin says, keep talking, Joyce. Robbie, Joyce, that sounds like a threat that Justin just made. What are you going to do if she does, Justin? Right, so some people are interpreting Justin's words as threatening behaviour now. Idiots, Joyce, I would take that as a threat from Justin. And Justin says, cry, Warlight Raff. How much money have you made off my name and Caden's name? Well, did you watch my birthday video, Justin, when I didn't mention you? What about last night, Justin? No money was made whatsoever. Ah, what a failure. But that would fall on you then, wouldn't it, Justin? That would fall on Caden, because if they're the big money makers, no money was made. So clearly, it's not all about that then. It's not all about those named people. So, yeah. And then Justin said, I'm not gay, unlike you, Warlike Raff. Now, people have interpreted, not me, let me make that very clear, not me, but other people have labelled Justin Roy as a homophobic individual. Based on the wording in the line here, it's not really homophobic in my opinion. It doesn't offend me in the first place. There's no reason to, because I'm not gay, okay? But the reason why it triggered that response by Justin is simply because I made a light-hearted joke and said, based on the way Justin keeps coming back to my channel, there's got to be an emotional pull, a connection to keep coming back despite saying I'm done with the channel. I wouldn't be surprised if he had dreams about me. Not something I would be impressed by, not something that I would want, right? So then Justin says, well, I'm not gay, unlike you, Raf. How can one be gay when the person is suggesting that the other person's gay? Why are you gay? Who is gay? It reminds me of that bloody news report and that African Nigerian media show. My goodness. But yeah, I mean, unusual. All I would say is Justin Roy's response is very kindergarten or high school-like behaviour. You know, like a really weak insult, a really weak burn. Like, you know, if you say, I'm not gay, unlike you, Warlight Raff. Oh, whoa, get the cameras. Oh, my God. Did you just hear what he said? Let's go for an action replay. Oh, my God, that's burn. 4th degree burns, 3rd degree burns. Oh, my God. Whoa. What a burn. What a burn, bro. Oh, no. Why am I using such degenerative language? Oh, goodness. Ellen says, oh no, Joyce, sounds like a threat. Is he going to put a protective order on you next? I mean, you are a woman. That seems to be who he goes after. Oh no. Brenda, all information should have been given to the LE to be vetted. Robbie to Justin, holy shit. Justin is homophobic. Tim, being gay is not an insult, you effing twat. Mike, wow, are you racist too? Ellen, oh Justin, you just want to know his bank account. You're jealous because he has a better income than you, and trust me, it's not because of you. Well, I wouldn't say that myself, not at all. Whatever Justin does in his life, I don't even really know, to be honest. I don't compare or compete in that sense. I'm not in any position to be competing with anyone, okay? I do YouTube, I do what I can, keep my head down, whether it works or not. I do what I do because I'm interested in it, and I feel like it's the one thing I'm good at in life, and that's pretty much it, okay? But, you know, in terms of competitiveness and people doing all that, yeah, it happened in the Dylan Rounds case as well, unfortunately. I don't know why, at times. But it's like some people get very petty or competitiveness when it comes to intelligence. I tend to joke about or mess around. Maybe not everyone understands it at times, but yeah, I guess sometimes when it comes to others, like the compliments and praises, obviously it's always appreciated. But I don't know, to other people, they could see it as like a marked target and think, oh, well, that person's labelled as this and that, then they must be really good. As I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not a good person. I'm not a bad person. I'm just a person. And that's the difference between me and other humans, because other humans will back themselves, you know, really far. They might have more confidence, but they back themselves really far, present themselves in such a holy way, and that's when they fall far. That's when they become more of a hypocrite. If you don't sell yourself that much in the first place, and, you know, there's not really much to lose. There's not much to be hypocritical about. And, you know, beside the whole money this, rich that, all that competition aside, you know, one thing that is more richer, which Justin doesn't even consider, but may there be no reason to consider, is that put aside the donations, put aside the super chats, put aside the super stickers, put aside all of that, put aside any monetary support. One thing that's richer is being a YouTuber, doing the videos, and somewhere down the line it actually helps someone in alternative ways. At times, some of the videos that I have done, for some people, it was at a critical time when really bad things were going on, and then down the line people reached out and commented and said, your videos helped me greatly. There's been some times where some people within this case were going through treatments or in hospital, you know, dealing with illnesses or struggles, and then they said that by sitting in the hospital bed watching these videos, it helped as a distraction. And then people said thank you in that sense. There's been some people in the past, won't mention any names, that were on the verge of ending their life, and then they watched some of my videos and said, your videos saved me from ending my life. I think examples like that, and maybe more in the future, is much more richer than all this monetary income or whatever it is. Oh my, Justin, you really don't understand the depth of these videos, do you? The effect it really has on people. And likely to myself as well, I'm not always going to know or feel the actual impact or effect I might have on people, more so in positive ways, because I don't think that much of myself most of the time. So as for impacts or effects on other people, I wouldn't expect it. But sometimes unexpected things can happen in a positive way, and maybe when you don't expect much. So very interesting with what's going on here. Very deep. Moving on. Oh God. What do we have here? Give me a second. Justin followed up, said, no, I just turned down his gay advances. What? Gay advances? Whoa, what's this going into? Some kind of dark romantic novel? Oh, no, Andrea. Andrea, please save me. Oh, whatever, please save me, Andrea. Right. Gay advances? What? Hold on. I just turned down his gay advances claiming I dream about him. That's gay. I'm not. You do know, Justin, there's a difference between a claim and a very, very light-hearted, rough drafted, like really rough prediction with no confidence said. Maybe you didn't understand the slight light-hearted joke. I mean, Justin, when it comes to making predictions, loose ones, you were the ones more fixed on that, weren't you, Justin, about at some point the defendants will probably blame or label Noah as getting raped, against his consent, that one, or kidnap or something like that. And some of those predictions never actually happened. So, yeah. Mike says, such a Christian. Lay off the pipe. Donna, I'm going to get back to Jerry's dinner. Justin says, lol, are y'all triggered? Why does that sound like Caden pressing away? Y'all, you'll be tweaking, man. Y'all, man, goddamn well. Think, man, Justin, man. Oh, y'all triggered. My goodness, you're triggering my accent all of a sudden. Poor Ellen, let's not forget, poor Ellen spent like 2 years doing a PhD in studying English language, or the Warlight Raff language, to try and even understand me. So if you start making me do different accents, poor Ellen will have to, learn it all over again. No, we can't do that, can we? Wait, what's this? Idiot says, you are the one that can't stay away from Raff. Gross, Justin. Joyce Bergout, no, Justin, just laughing at how stupid you're acting. Oh, how stupid. Oh, Joyce, I thought you were calling Justin a hoe based on how it's spelt there. Oh, no. No. Donna, lol, oh my, lions, tigers and bears, oh my. Justin, can't wait until y'all look stupid when the real truth about that morning is told. And yes, it's coming. Well, if it's coming, then it can be analysed at the time, of course. Brenda, Justin, give it a rest. Some of us are here for Noah. And as well, let's not forget, some of us are actually here to learn about psychology. Let's not forget that. Right, so just as a heads up, whilst Justin Roy is saying he is not gay and claiming that Warlight Raff is, and whilst Justin is saying I turned down his gay advances, can people please explain to me why 10 hours ago or more on a completely different video of mine on my YouTube channel, you see the rough thumbnail there, it's of me doing a live stream, holding a phone up, showing a video of Sean Neil Horlacker, a resident from Las Vegas, or was at the time in 2019, who went out into the Mojave Desert, Jomay Canyon, a 10-11 mile hike, coming back in the dark, falling ill after investigating a supposed covered-up M cave, whilst out, experiencing strange creepy footsteps in the dark and being stalked, possibly by demons, reptilians or whatever, and then other things followed after that. Why did Justin decide to comment on this video, this live stream, of all places? Why did Justin decide to come back to my channel after being done? Why did Justin decide to follow me around like a bag handler? Why does Justin say he's not gay and he's not obsessed with me, but he keeps coming back for more and he keeps on commenting as well? There's many contradictions. It sounds like a lot of internal conflict and tension in some way. Fighting against certain urges. Now, you know what? I think there's been a few people like that in the past in different ways, where people hate someone or hate something, but they keep coming back. It's like a love-hate relationship. Let me just show you. Look at that. You tell me, everybody watching right now in the live chat, and if you're watching on catch up, and everyone in the background as a witness, what you're looking at on screen, does that have anything to do with Noah Presgrove? No. Does it have anything to do with Oklahoma? No. Does it have anything to do with the party house? No. Does it have any mention or reference to Justin Roy? No. It's the Kenny Veach case. Happened in 2014 when Kenny Veach, Snakebit McGee, a YouTuber, went missing 10th of November 2014. Been missing since. And other people have gone out there hiking and searching. So why did Justin decide to comment on this live stream? As an attempt to push people away who come to my channel. Justin is trying to push new viewers away from coming to my channel. That's quite a disruptive, dark tactic to imply, isn't it? Is that fair on me? Is that fair on my channel? Is that fair on new impressionable viewers that get one side of the story, make their minds up, and then decide to leave? It's like going round to a business or a store and, setting a load of rats off or cockroaches, then reporting it in or telling everyone this place is infested. Yeah, infested because you did it. And then the place loses customers. You can interpret it that way. So Justin said, this guy will make a mockery out of this case, like he did the Noah Presgrove case. He goes with the highest bidder to make money. It's actually sickening. He's very vindictive. Also, he will have about 5 to 6 of his followers with fake accounts attack you if you disagree with him. Be aware. Oh, Justin. Oh, Justina, please. What's going on here? Right, let's just make one thing very, very clear, Justin. I have researched the Kenny Veach case since 2015, okay? I've been covering true crime cases, mysteries, missing person cases more than you've probably had hot meals, okay? So simmer down. That's been lighthearted in case you didn't interpret it. But yeah, I've covered the Kenny Veach case, researching it since 2015. I started making videos on the case since 2020. And in terms of super chats and super stickers, there might have been once or twice and that was it. For most part of it, in the Kenny Veach case community, hardly anyone gives super chats and super stickers. Am I complaining about it? No. It's just people's choice. That's why it is at the end of the day. Really, no one gives super chats or super stickers to me when it comes to covering the Kenny Veach case. It is what it is. And guess what? After 5, 6 years of covering a case where I don't receive big super chats, super stickers, donations all the time, I hardly get any of that, I'm still covering the case. So it clearly shows, Justin, I'm not motivated by the monetary gain if I'm still covering a case after 6 years, from 2015 of covering the case. How incompetent can you be, Justin? Do your research before you make silly comments like this. It's not a good look whatsoever. You talk about the highest bidder. The people that demand an order or the others that give suggestions to do videos, they don't pay me. They've never paid me. That's never happened, right? There's a thing where, in the Kenny Veach case, it's down to simple common respect. People give ideas or people let you share videos and content amongst one another. No monetary gain in that sense, no paying off, just simply sharing ideas, sharing materials, and trusting one another with that material. You have hikers, Justin, going out into the Mojave Desert, death-like situations, just about making it back to upload a video or to even share it with me because they trust me, they respect me, they look up to me. I am the one, Justin, that did deep, detailed map analysis. I'm not even from the US. I'm from the UK, and I've made deep, detailed map analysis, which real hikers have relied on and used who are in the US and gone on the hikes and have made it back successfully. I think that stands pretty high. There's so much that you don't know of, Justin, in the Kenny Veach case. I would say stick around and find out and learn about the case, but you'd probably make that, case and community very toxic. So, yeah. What else is there? 5 to 6 followers with fake accounts. Nope. Anyone that shows up, most of the people that are showing up are under their own names, usernames, as they were weeks before, months before, the odd year before, and so on. So this says that Justin Roy is following me around and commenting on other videos of mine which have nothing to do with Noah Presgrove. So you say about making a mockery, you say about this has nothing to do with this has nothing to do with that. And look, here you are taking it out on a completely different case, different community and group. It's very petty. It doesn't just end there, unfortunately. It continues on. Justin says, you support people talking about Noah's family and pushing a false narrative. They want this to be a hit and run and just go away. That's not supporting Noah. That's not here for Noah. Oh, Justina. You do know that there are people, and there can be people that are allowed to think of a different cause of death, right? And furthermore, ever since, it's not all been about people pushing, a hit and run, is it? You say they want it to be a hit and run, so it can just go away. What about Tim Daniel? What about some other people that since have considered Noah falling out of a vehicle like an accident? You might not believe in it. You might think it's a stretch, a reach, it's a silly idea. It's a theory, that's all. But guess what? It's different from a hit and run to falling out of a vehicle. Come on, Justin, keep up. Where are you? Why are you not keeping up? I thought you stick around. Or maybe that tunnel vision is leading to selective hearing as well. So you don't bother considering what's being said or what's being shown or what's being talked about because you're too fixated on other stuff. Justin, breathe slowly, right? You need to. Anyway, Mike, thanks for your coverage, but since Baby Ruth has showed up, I'm out. I don't argue with idiots. I think Mike might be talking about Justin there. And talk about crushes, you're trying to figure out who I am in court. Crushes. So I know there was people talking about crushes in the past, like Vanessa Salazar and the fake accounts had crushes on me. How many people have crushes on me? What's going on? Anyway, Tim, Warlight Ralph had a pretty good turnout for that birthday video. Mike, I am Mike Allen Johnson. I live in Tulsa. Good luck. You can't figure out sheep. Alan? Wait. Oh, what was that name? Oh, I can't remember what I was going to say. Tim, haha, yeah, I think that was a lot of tips for not mentioning the supposed moneymaker's name. Well, we've broken the cycle now. Brenda, Justin, do your homework. Brenda, do your homework. My goodness. Alan, what's it? Is it from American Psycho? It says, where's Mark Allen at? I don't know. I won't say I was like an idiot. Move on. Gibby says, sounds like to me it was the fact that Robin Smith was told that Avery was drinking. Maybe, Gibby. But I wonder who told Robin that and why did they do that? You spread or whisper false lies, misinformation or disinformation into someone's ear. Is that done as a strategy to harm the vulnerable person that will listen to your every word? Or to cause more damage in the case, I wonder? Ellen to Gibby, but that was an assumption. Why would an adult go after a younger person, even though she was considered an adult at the time? I cannot condone that. Brenda, why would someone tell Robin that knowing what she was already going through? Why push a grieving person's buttons? Exactly. But you know what? That can happen at times. We have suggested it in some ways. Tim with the face palm and the towel. Take in mind, you might not be able to see clearly on screen, but for people that can't see the emojis, if you remember on my channel, you get access to the face palm of Warlight Wrath. Look at that. Look at Warlight Wrath's hand. Warlight Wrath's hand is as big as his head and it covers his face mostly. Okay? So if you want access to the face palm of Warlight Wrath, feel free to become a member. And if you want to use the exclusive towel called Towel Time with pizza slices on the side of the towel, feel free to do so. There you go. So just, it's because sometimes YouTube doesn't show the emojis clear. So that's a towel, which I created, okay? Beside that, Gibby, I have no idea. I would never do that to someone. Okay. It was what she was told, that she was drinking. That's not an assumption. Yeah. Told something that's not right, not correct. Led down a false sense of lies. Act on it and then regret it afterwards. But if someone whispered it into your ear, they've like whispered poison and toxin in you. Tim, God forbid anyone have a sense of humour after covering a dark subject. And yeah, in regard to this, the whole drinking reference, when you look at them, there's no clear sign of them drinking or being drunk. I mean, posing for the camera, smiling, having a good time for most part of it, looks fairly happy. Maybe Robin sees that and thinks, how dare they have fun when Noah can't do the same thing? It's not fair. That's understandable. But the alcohol reference, it's hard to tell. A brewery, you can assume alcohol, of course, but if there's no visual signs of them holding alcohol, how can you prove it? If you didn't know there was a baby shower and you didn't know about a side room that's being rented out or used at the time, function room, then you might just think brewery and that's the only reason why they're there. So without the context, it's understandable why Robin was feeling the way she did at the time. Her actions may have not been the right thing to do, but in the moment, heat of the moment, emotional time, I get it. But are there any other out of context things at play, I wonder? And then towards the end, part of the live chat where I think other people started falling off to sleep by this point, George, weren't they all drinking, as in some of Noah's family, in that TikTok live? The one where Cade and Pressy popped in and enjoyed a cold one with them too? Yeah. Gibby, Jasmine Milan wasn't a social host and she came voluntarily and spoke to the family. So Gibby basically means the reason why Robin didn't take it out on Jasmine in that moment on Facebook Messenger, because Jasmine had cooperated and isn't the problem and isn't the host, but Avery supposedly is and hasn't cooperated supposedly, so she's the problem. So Robin has a problem with Avery, but not Jasmine. But guess what, Gibby? One thing that is forgotten is if the location is going to be blasted by Robin, or that's what Robin wants, to intimidate Avery or to put Avery in a damaging, dangerous situation by indirect acts of vigilantism or call to arms, don't you think it will also harm Jasmine Milan because of being in the same vicinity as Avery or just by association, right? Let's just put it this way as an extreme example. If you've got a person at a location and then someone finds out that location and says, right, blast the location, it's time to get a mob to go round and burn the building down with Avery inside. And if that was followed through with, because Jasmine Milan is present too, and yet the action is still possibly followed through with, Jasmine, just by association, mentally and physically present, will also be in harm's way. So, yeah, you might not have a problem with this person, but you have a problem with that person, and it just so happens that this person is connected physically in the moment present with that person. So whatever you think, whatever you do, whatever you wish for upon Avery, it can also have a damaging effect in some way on Jasmine, depending on the circumstances. If you're in the same place, whatever happens to Avery could happen to Jasmine, could get caught in the line of fire, could get caught in the crossfire, could be a form of collateral damage. Why is that not considered? Why isn't it considered that, okay, the lack of context with Robin, yeah, but if anything did go wrong at that brewery and they didn't know about the baby shower, just imagine if any of the babies were harmed. Just imagine the damage that could lead to under extreme circumstances, you know? Anyway, beside that, adding on, George, it's the TikTok that was broadcasted live. Tim, I heard about that. I could never locate it online. Anyone have a copy? I guess I didn't watch that one. The TikToker said it was too large of a file or something, so I'm not sure. Okay, so let me just provide a bit of context, Tim, George, Joyce. You know, yeah, okay, the file was probably too large. When it comes to live streams on TikTok, most people don't tend to save them because live streams are too long, file size is too big, and I don't think TikTok allows it to save, or it doesn't have the capacity for it. So it just disappears afterwards. It's like deleted. So it's unfortunate, really unfortunate. YouTube, it will automatically save and upload and process in the background once you end the live stream. I think it's the same with Twitch as well. But TikTok isn't that great. But the thing is, George and Tim, supposedly what some people said online was that TikToker or Noah's family were considering in releasing parts of it on YouTube or Facebook. You know, part 1, part 2 from the live stream. But the reason why that plan was cut short and wasn't followed through with is because there was a surge, a wave of backlash of the general public calling out either Noah's family or people in general as a bunch of women drinking wine and cackling and laughing whilst talking about Noah Presgrove, and it was deemed as inappropriate. That's what people were referring to. I get it in a way. You're going to have a go at Avery for being in a brewery, whether they're drinking or not, but then you've got these people or others drinking wine, whether they're in Noah's bedroom or not, drinking wine and alcohol whilst talking about the case. And the case is all about social hosting, alcohol leading to the death of Noah, whilst you're drinking and cackling and getting merry. It just seems a bit bad taste in a way, isn't it? It is a bit of bad taste. But I get it, hanging out, drinking, yeah, I get that. But under the circumstance of what you're talking about, it's a bit of a sensitive, touchy thing, I get. It's problematic. But you know what? We don't have videos of it, but what we do have is a screenshot. Don't worry, Warlight Ref coming in with the receipts to an extent at least. And I say to an extent because this was taken before Caden Pressey showed up or was present in shot. And this doesn't show them drinking alcohol, just for context there. This person called One Crime at a Time. I know there was a person called One Crime at a Time on Reddit or somewhere else, and I asked them, are you that TikToker? And they said no. So One Crime at a Time is the woman top left, the host. The person at the bottom, AO, no clue who they are. And then top right, you've got Ashley Chadwick, Robin Smith in the middle, and Deborah Smith on the far right side. And that is supposedly inside Noah Presgrove's bedroom, possibly. Looks like it could be. So you'll just look at the overlay, TikTok, 104 people watching live at the time. In the live chat, a person said, was Shannon Sullivan, I think, friend to Alicia, said, "Hey Alicia." And if the context behind this, from what was said supposedly, is that when this live was ongoing, unknown to Alicia and Caden, they popped round to Deborah Smith's house to either collect something or drop an item off. And upon Caden knocking at the door, then realised they were doing a live stream. So Caden Pressey was supposedly welcomed in, and I guess in the same frame sat on the bed with the women, drinking or hanging out whilst talking about the case and laughing. I don't know where Alicia was though, because if Alicia dropped Caden off or was waiting for Caden, maybe Alicia came into the house as well. I'm not too sure. I think Alicia may have been watching part of the live stream as well at some point. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? So if you know anyone on the screen, anyone else, feel free to mention. But really, we're focusing in there. You got Ashley Chadwick left, Robin Smith middle, the end, and Deborah Smith on the right. You got Noah Presgrove, a photo frame of him on the wall, curtain there. And as for the bed sheet, it looks like it's got the number 16. So if that's like a sports reference or Comanche or the American football, it could be relevant to Noah Presgrove's bedroom. So you've got a group of Noah's family members supposedly drinking alcohol whilst talking about Noah Presgrove and his death, which alcohol resulted in his death, supposedly. Yeah, I do understand it though from both sides and in other perspectives as well. I get it. Maybe not everyone else will understand what I mean. There might be a language barrier, but, you know, just wanted to share that with you so you could see it for yourself. Now, it does say driving off, so this implies that the person may have had their phone in the handheld, hands-free device of their car, so whoever was in a car at the time was watching this with that driving off notification. Driving off, to stop driving, They've stopped. They've parked up. Could this be Alicia's point of view? Whose point of view of it? If I'm taking a screenshot, I wonder. I don't know. Interesting, nevertheless. Now, Leslie, on the sideline, as for some miscellaneous points, did mention about how if people don't like me, why do people talk about me often enough? But it's actually been a new pattern of that more now than ever before. So an individual called Stevie Ill-Gotten Gains, 13 hours ago, on the case discussion page, had made this particular post. Out of everything that you could actually post on Facebook, which is supposed to be a page dedicated and all about Noah Presgrove specifically, Stevie decided to say, has anyone else noticed that over the last month, Warlight Ref has shifted back to almost daily content on this case after focusing on other things? And when you look at who consistently amplifies and engages with it, it's a very small, familiar circle. When frequency and promotion ramp up like that, it's fair to ask why. Well, the thing is, Stevie, do I owe you all the answers to your questions when are you a regular viewer on my channel? Yes, no. Do you understand the process? Because Stevie, you wouldn't be asking this question if you actually bothered to do your research. You would know that I started around the 1st of June 2024 and I made videos almost every single day for an entire year and so on and so on. And then it was only when it came to mid to late December of 2025 I decided to lock in with the Kenny Veach case because I didn't want to neglect it because it has been for quite some time. And then some people were wishing and hoping that I would come back to covering the Noah Presgrove case, and the timing of it came about with newer topics and perspectives. So it's very simple, Stevie. If you are ever confused or you don't know or you feel lost, all you have to do is just watch my videos and just listen. And then you'll find the answers and it will be rather clear. Beside that, whether it be a part of the same comment thread or elsewhere, Stevie says nothing wrong with content creation, but when the same small circle constantly amplifies and financially supports one narrative, it's reasonable to ask why. I mean, I've got to say, the way Stevie Gaines comments and words her points is a little bit more professional than what other people do, so that's a positive at least. But, at the end of the day, if it's all about monetary things, I just wouldn't be covering the Noah Presgrove case. Because look, honestly, statistically, 200-300 views on videos, it's disappointing to see. No joke. Being honest, it's a shame to see. But my interest within the case, because I'm interested in true crime since the age of 4 years old, right? My interest outweighs the statistics. Okay? We've got Jalen. It just now went off. It was like over 2 hours. It had a lot of interesting points, things I haven't heard before. So good to know. I'm glad you liked the video. And if you are around, hopefully you see this video too. Charming Caribou. I just can't with him. I've tried several times to listen to him. You can definitely tell he is paid off. Oh no. Paid off. So just because a person wants to support a channel and say a thank you, that means it's bad, it means it's negative, it means it's always for, and there's always some corruption behind it. You always think the worst. That's not a healthy mindset to have, Charming Caribou. I wouldn't say very charming. You're more naive and confused. You need to say, oh, no. Besides, Michaela, don't worry, it's all right. Besides, poor Michaela in the background wearing her perfect glasses, looks very good in the glasses. Beside that, we've seen a couple of people with wonky glasses recently who complain and whine, okay? Maybe at one point I said Michelle Ray Brummett wore wonky glasses, but ever since she's got them super glued on, so they're going nowhere, just like that magic wand. A literal magic wand. But no, we talk about glasses, the odd little reference. We've got a... What is that? What is that? It's wearing glasses, sunglasses. My God. You talk about shady actions. Someone's wearing a pair of dark shades, very shady. What goes on behind those eyes? Want to be blaming and pointing it at Jack Newton for wearing sunglasses on the highway, as some people suggested, hiding the eyes, hiding the truth, hiding away from it all. Body language is very telling. You got what's that? An aardvark, a deer, a ram, whatever it is, wearing sunglasses. What's he doing? Where's an animal wearing sunglasses? What's going on? Even it says nickname. Even the nickname's got sunglasses. The emoji's got sunglasses. What's going on with sunglasses? My God, some kind of conspiracy. So, a lot to take on board and in mind, but the most part of it tried focusing in on the Presgrove situation. A little touch of lightheartedness to break through the toxicity and the darkness within some people's minds. What had escalated post their live premiere, post on Facebook, the odd person screenshotting what Justin Roy said about the gay reference and all of that, labels of being homophobic and so on, and all kinds of comments and responses back and forth. But beside the action or the words, what's more important is the reactions and responses by people within the, conversations online, supporters of Justin, people that look up to Justin. Now, to summarise what came about within those conversations on Facebook, why this links back to the psychological reasoning, is because when your master, your supporter, your daddy, or just a friend or a colleague or someone you look up to, someone you're close to, someone you trust, someone you believe in, when they're caught out, or if something goes wrong, something bad is said, or it's interpreted as bad, when it comes to the supporters and the people that have been around that person, it can put them in an awkward situation. And in other ways, it could lead to denial as well, the self-defense mechanism. Find it hard to comprehend that someone you know for this time is capable of this or that or done this and that, and you don't want to accept it, because if you do, you've associated with that person all this time, and you blame yourself, you feel guilty, you feel you're the problem, you hate yourself, you blame, frustration, not quite grief, but waves of different emotions. Denial, hard to believe, something shocking, something unexpected. Denial, self-defense mechanism, protecting yourself from being hurt, protecting yourself from being betrayed, protecting yourself from trust being betrayed, feeling that you could believe in someone, feeling that someone was worthy and you could trust them and look up to them and they wouldn't judge. And then there they are, judging someone else. And it could get under your skin, it could impact you, could make you think, oh, what should I say? What shouldn't I say? What have I said to that person? Have they used it against me? Will they use it against me? Will they ridicule me? Will they do something bad with that information or anything sensitive? It can lead to shock. It can lead to panic. So if you're in a position where you've got to accept or acknowledge, and say, what was said, what was done there, do you believe in it? Do you think it was acceptable? Was it right of that person to say this or that? And they're like, because they want to say yes, but they may also want to say no. The mind is in conflict. The denial, crossroads. Did they say yes because they do believe something's wrong, but then does it put their life in danger? Does it lead to the other person turning on them if any juicy information has been shared in the background? Is there a tether, a tie connected to someone? That psychological buffer where it prevents movement, it prevents being able to escape or walk away from someone or disassociate from someone because you are in their debt, you owe them or they owe you. There's a level of control or power dynamics because of something that they know about you. It could be anything really. It could be something indirect as well. I mean, it has been used in previous cases against people. So when one person's been outed or exposed and then the fan base sees it for what it really is, they want to pull away. They don't want to support anymore, but sometimes they don't know how to pull away. Fully grown adult should be able to. But if you think of controlling behaviour, I'm talking in general now, right? But just before going further, the summary was, there was a couple of people here and there within the comment section of the case discussion that weren't 100% saying what was said by a said person was outright wrong. It was more so people deflecting by saying, well, other people are doing it and that person's not the first and they won't be the last. Does that make the situation any better? Just by deflecting it, shifting the focus or the blame elsewhere? Well, okay, that person may have inappropriately touched someone. So what? Everyone else is. Does that make the situation any better? Does that actually fix the problem? Does that actually help the victim? Now, so that mentality and mindset to have is rather questionable towards those people that may think that way. I used an extreme example then, but it's to put my point across, right? We had the likes of Natasha, whoever. Their name isn't that important for me to remember, but I do know that they've got petty problems and fixations negatively about me. Natasha, I think with black hair or so, on Facebook, case discussion, complains, whines, yaps, without context, without research, typical human, pretty much, isn't it? You had Natasha deflecting in a way. You had Kelly lose some pounds, Kelly Pounds. Who else did you have? Laura Button-It Dutton as well. And a couple of other people. I don't know if Judy showed up or not, but you get an idea. You get different groups of people who are being connected with a certain someone. You build a rapport. You build a connection. You get used to it. So then when things feel like a person's exposed, a person's outed, you feel like your whole world has ended or crashed. It's all imploded. And psychologically speaking, on a general level, in more intense situations, it's understandable why the defense mechanism within the brain kicks in. Denial, not being able to believe in it. Denial or distraction / misdirection, shifting the focus elsewhere, too afraid to admit, to deal with what's going on at hand. Shift, redirect the focus elsewhere, pin the blame, pin the focus, pin the questions onto someone else so you don't have to deal with it yourself, so you don't have to go through the realization of what's going on. An overlap to a form of grief in a way. Losing a connection with someone, kind of. Losing that sense of reality with someone. Thinking that you knew that person, yet at the end of the day you never knew who they really were or what they were really like or capable of. That's the damage it can do. Emotional damage, emotional trust issues and all of that. If in a physical, psychological closeness with a person, if they showed their true colours, their true darkness, or something happened to them, you want to escape. You need to escape. You want to distance yourself, but you might be tethered emotionally. You might be tethered at one point through other means, legally, who knows? It can be online, or it could be more so in real life. You could know one another very closely. You could be living together, who knows? You want to pull away because you've had enough of how they treat you, or you want to pull away. You don't want to associate with someone who can be a certain way, which you've only just found out about, right? But where do you go? Physically, mentally, where do you go? Depending on the circumstances and the dynamics, you might be in a situation where you can't leave the household, you can't leave the house, you can't escape because either it just doesn't work, it's not practical for yourself, there's no safe ground, there's no where to land on to build back up. You know, it could be financially, it could be emotionally, it could be different types, lack of support networks, who knows? So some people may feel trapped and they may bide their time and wait for when there is the right time, but that all makes sense. One thing that is key though, other people may act or react quicker. Other people may do it differently, but everyone is different to how they act and react in different situations. You might get out, you might escape, you might find a way out and then be free to breathe, free to think for yourself on your own terms. You might be able to then move on or come across new groups, new friends, new people, or a new person and meet someone else in life. You, in the process or later, you may reflect and see others that have done the same thing but quicker, but it's not a competition or comparison. A person in the moment or later can retrospectively fall back on guilt, shame, and self-blame. Why didn't I leave quicker? Why didn't I see it quicker? Why didn't I pick up on the signs earlier? Why didn't I see them for what they truly were? Why did I stick around? Why did I keep on trying? Firstly, it's not your fault. Secondly, another person may have acted quicker, but maybe they weren't dealing with such complex, difficult situations as what you were going through. You may have had it harder, more difficult. and in general. So you can't be expected to react and act perfect or quick like others. Other people may have it easier. Other people may have more support. Other people may have a second home, metaphorically. So it's easier to transition, to depart, to disassociate. If you're in a complex, difficult situation, you can't be expected to make all the right moves because you're already dealing with everything that's going on in the moment and maybe the past. There's a lot at hand, so you can't blame yourself. But it's understandable if a person did, but they shouldn't have to. It's not their fault. They're dealing with a lot. And furthermore, in terms of the blame, as in should have done more, could have done more, feeling guilty for one's own struggles, one's own suffering, or somehow the other person from a different point of view. That self-blame, a bit of an overlap to one of the symptoms of grief. But the reason why there is guilt and self-blame is because of trying to justify the situation as a form of the defense mechanism, even if it means harming psychologically oneself, to try and anchor a point where you can finally grab a sense of control which was never there before or taken away at some point, to finally grip onto something to make sense of the surreal nature of what's happened. But what's important to acknowledge, whenever you blame yourself or question or doubt yourself, why did you not do it quicker? Why did you not see things for what they were sooner? Why did you not pull away quicker? Why did you keep on trying with someone or with a group of people? It's just basically a true reflection of yourself and defines you for who you really are. A deeply caring person that doesn't give up easily on someone, even when that other person has given up on themselves or given up on you and the connection you may have. It says more about you than it does about them, as in more of a positive on yourself. It may not feel that way in the moment because of everything, but externally, it shows that there's more good qualities about yourself, that you at least tried. You tried to be patient, you tried to be understanding and all of that, and that's what makes a good person. But in a difficult situation with the darkness and dark people, what makes a good person can also make a more difficult place to try and get out of. So even digitally, Facebook, groups, pages, associations, it can be hard to escape. It can be hard to unsupport someone, to not back someone when they need it. You know that they're in the wrong. You don't have to support them, because if you support them, you're safe. And if you don't support them or go against them, they might come after you and attack you. That's happened in the Dylan Rounds case. It could happen in the Noah Presgrove case. Who knows? I'm just using past, present patterns and trends to try and work out why people do deflection, why people try and minimize things when it's clearly bad at hand, and so on. You let me know if you agree or not, but we'll leave it there for now. I think this was still a long video. Apologies about that. Fingers crossed it uploads quicker. If you want to hit the thumbs up, share the video for that awareness, that'll be much appreciated. If you're on mobile or tablet device, down below, comment section, if you swipe across, there should be a hype button. That will just help spread the awareness of this video. All in all, some new things to learn about the Noah Presgrove case, of course, at hand, and some other side stuff too. My name's Wyatt Raff. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Good night for now.